Hi, and welcome to another Type with Me. In today's video, I'm going to talk about ready for AssemblyScript. So AssemblyScript is a language made for WebAssembly, right? The name says itself. It's been designed for WebAssembly. If you are familiar with TypeScript, then it's very easy to step into WebAssembly for that. And it's right at your fingertips because it works very easily with npm. So let's start it and get us ready for AssemblyScript by just following a small tutorial on how to use AssemblyScript, right? So we can very easily install AssemblyScript loader, right? So we're going to do that. All right, here we go. It's been installed. And as a dev dependency, we also need AssemblyScript. So now I'm going to install it right here. So here we go. So, and if we want to initialize our project as an AssemblyScript project, we need to do npx as init from assembly init, right? And then dot to refer to our current directory. So we're going to do that. Here I'm going to say yes. And then here we are with all the necessary things for WebAssembly in our project. If we go here, for example, we already have our loader that's been initialized, right? And then here we go to an optimized WASM. We also have some extra folders, right? So here we have assembly, and if we go to index.ts, right, we see already that it's a TypeScript kind of file, and you see here directly that we have an integer 32, and here also an integer 32. I stands for integer, right? So within normal TypeScript, it would be a number, but within AssemblyScript, you will see that we have very different primary types for integers, and in this case, it's an integer 32. If you go to asconfig.json, you see here that it's the configuration for our AssemblyScript. This is also very important. If you want to tweak certain things, you can go here and you can very easily say, okay, my binary file, my WASM file needs to be called like that. So for debug, it will be untouched.wasm, and for our release, it will be optimized.wasm, right? Like we saw here. For example, we see already optimized.wasm. All right, so if you want to run WebAssembly, you can very easily do npm run as build, and then you will build it, and you will put it into the right folder, right? So you will put it right here. So now you can very easily do npm tests, and it will run your tests, right? If we go here to tests, you will see here that we have some basic tests, and then of course my module, which is just the module, is calling at 1, 3, and it needs to be 3, right? So if we go here, it's just testing out this one, right? Just a basic node.js module, of course, but again, it's using WASM under the hood. So if you look at AssemblyScript, it's mainly like TypeScript, and C had a child, right? It's more strict, it's more concerned, it's more like a static compiler, right? And then it's really being used within the JavaScript VM. So when we go now here to our index.ts and we do something like this, you will see that you will not be that happy about it. Of course, when you are writing it, it will be no issue, but if we are going to do something like this, you'll see that it will complain normally. Of course, it will complain. It's not happy about it. If we go here, see here what's going on. then type expected. So he wants to have it as a type. And I think also when you are not defining a return type, you will still not be happy, right? You see, because of course there he also needs to have a return type. It's WebAssembly, and here he says, I really need to have a type. So also here we need to do something like this, right? If we do it like that, you will see that it will just run. It will just compile, right? So that's great. That's something you need to have into account, that you need to have explicit typings there. Otherwise, yeah, when you do npm run as build or assembly build, it will fail. So next thing that I want to show you is the following thing. When we have this, right, we have a union type within TypeScript. All of you know, I suppose. Well, then when we are running assembly build, you'll see that it will fail again. He's not happy. He doesn't know what the exact type will be. He says, yeah, no expected, but it's basically he doesn't like union types. It's better to write the following thing. So when we run it now, then you'll see that it works. And then you just need to provide the type there when you want to use foo. Also, your object needs to be strictly typed. So this one is normal JavaScript, right? But with assemblyscript, you will see that he is not happy about that. It's important to know that this will fail. So there are a lot of differences there, and it's very important to know these before you are going into an adventure of using AssemblyScript over just TypeScript or JavaScript and solve some problems. So this will work, right, if we are using that. So then, of course, we have a map with a string and a string. We can very easily set property to hello world. So this will work, right? So that's a great thing. You can have nullable checks, right? That's also one thing that you could do. You can have a function do something where we have something which can be a string or null, and UL, right? So that's still something that we can do. So we cannot use unions, but we can use this kind of notation there, right? It will work. And because we don't return anything, we need to put a void there, right? Of course, I need to save this. So when we run this again, you will see it will still work. So like I said before, TypeScript has a lot of types. Here we have our 32-bit signed integer, you have an unsigned integer, you have floats, you have vectors that you even can use, right? So that's important to know and to see how this works, because these are differences between, of course, TypeScript that you already know and AssemblyScript that is a little bit different, right? And that little bit different is very important to know when you are starting to use AssemblyScript next to TypeScript. So imagine that you want to work something out like this, right? We have an export interface, hello. And then, of course, we want to do something like console output or something, yeah, like that. Output, no. And we want to return a string right here. And then, of course, we want to do something like this, return, and then you say age.world, right? So something like that. But of course, he doesn't like interfaces. He has some problem with that. I do not know why. But if we change this to class, it will work. So I advise you to just start and use classes there. Of course, one of the things that we need to do right here is give it an initial string, right? And if we give it an initial string, and we have here hello, it just will work. So you need to see and need to know that you are working with assemblyscript. It's you can use a lot of the things that you are being used to within TypeScript, but of course there are limitations. There are more strictly things that you need to take care of because JavaScript is more loosely. You can have more flexibility within JavaScript and within WebAssembly and AssemblyScript. That's not the case. And of course, there are good things and bad things about it. There are good things to say about it and bad things to say about it. Just need to take care of that. Also, know that WebAssembly will solve some problems by just having great performance when you need to parse certain things on there directly. It's a good tool to do so if you want to implement certain games, right? With game graphics, it's a very good tool to use for. So I advise to look into that. If you want to learn something more, you can always go to Rust and then yeah, use your Rust code together with WebAssembly. It's also a very great case to do so. I'm also learning Rust at the moment, so I can advise you to do that as well. Thank you for watching. This is just to get you ready for AssemblyScript, to start experimenting with it, to start using it maybe in the future. I don't know. I had a lot of great things to prepare this video for you. It's a nice tool, WebAssembly, in my opinion. Thank you for watching and see you next time.